Some call me a sinner for the things I've done. Born with a heart of stone, fast with a gun. I'm here to get mine, then I'll leave this town. If you're standing in my way, I'll cut you down. You can't tame me. Some call me a sinner for the things I've done. Born with a heart of stone, fast with a gun. I'm here to get mine, then I'll leave this town. If you're standing in my way, I'll cut you down. You can't tame me.
Good morning, everybody. Yeah, I know I'm starting late. I don't want to hear it. I had other shit to do. Like, literally, other shit to do. So, you are on the Invasion Nation morning show. Today is fucking Friday, brought to you by yours truly, Redneck. So, yeah, also brought to you by Mill Pond Salon and Romaine Berg. And then I get special help from Iams Garage and KJ's Quick Stop. So don't forget to check us out on our other platforms too: YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that shit. We got all that going on too. So if you get an opportunity to, make sure you get over the redneckinvasion.org store, check it out. We're slowly building up inventory on there. Just hit 18,000 on Facebook today. Nice. Now if I could even get a fraction of them over here. Just give me 1,000 of them over here on a every morning basis. That would be great. That would be great. So, I just want to say good morning to everybody. It's getting very hard for me with the more and more viewers getting to go do the run through and give everybody an individual shout out, but know this: my feelings have not changed, but I'm gonna have to uh, learn how to not do that, because I've noticed in watching a couple of streams of mine that I'm literally losing it with the more and more people we got coming in. So, with that being said, good morning to everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Fuck it, I'm gonna try it anyways. We'll see what happens. It's just been a tradition. Redneck Tech Support, good morning. Gus, good morning. Matt, good morning. Chad, Penny LaRue, good morning. Never Back Down, good morning. Chris, good morning. Jerry, good morning. Terry, good morning. Let's see here. Jody, good morning. Junebug, good morning. I think I got everybody. Yeah, it's just gonna be. I know I'm gonna have to eventually, once we start getting up there more and more in the numbers. Denver, good morning. Good to see you. USMC, good morning. Um, oh, to give you guys an update, the accident that I was out by in Howick turned out to be an alcohol-related accident. Uh, State Patrol said that it was a 60-year-old couple that was in a Lincoln MKZ. The report said that he swerved over the middle line right in front of an auto transporter truck, and the wife is in intensive care. The husband, no serious injuries. But yeah, they said their alcohol could be the blame. They didn't release for sure, yes, for sure or not. So, Rich, good morning, good to see you. I have to go in 10 minutes. A guy named When Raw. Uh, when Rod was cool, Rad was cool. Popson, there to let you know he has 15 viewers. Okay. I tell people you don't start until 8, so you can shout out all the early birds. Well, if goals go the way they have it, I will probably. My goal is to do at least a 4-hour morning show. We miss a lot of West Coasters. A lot of the people out on the West Coast, we miss a lot of them by me having to cut out by 10. So, like to run till 11. When you start setting goals, I've got things that, like, well, as a full-time streamer, what would you do for programming? I said, well, it's kind of based on the day. It wouldn't be the same stuff every day. I mean, you'd see some fishing. On a positive note, I talked to a buddy of mine. J. Joe, good morning. Good to see you. I talked to a buddy of mine who was a fabricator, who has a shop and everything. We're going to, not this weekend, but the following weekend, I have to bring the other camper that I bought, the one I got for $150. I'm going to bring it out there. We're going to get it up in the air. We're going to figure out what it's going to take to put some drop axles underneath it so we can get that ready to go and get some holes cut in it. Make sure all the water tanks are pulled out of it and anything underneath it that we don't need. So, I'm in trash. Good to see you. Good morning. So, Ohio, what's happening? I know Fox was fishing last night. I didn't get to see. Did you do any fishing yesterday? Stream fishing? Were you streaming it all yesterday? My schedule is so messed up lately, and I just, yeah. See, when I started this show, I was working nights and I was running at night, so I'd wake up during the day and because I would come home, I would do the morning show, and then I'd go to bed and wake up, and then I'd get up and catch everybody else. And now with my new schedule and adding another stop on this route, and I actually have 3 combined routes right now. I'm doing 3 separate routes on one route. So, Tanya, good morning, good to see you. Yeah, it is one of those kinds of deals. One of them kind of get up and waking up, watching Defiance, stream today, hopefully. Been poor to fish. I'm going to try and go Saturday morning. We'll see. I'm going to a graduation. Not really excited about it. I don't ever talk. See, I don't ever talk to these people, and this is one of my things. You're an asshole. Great. Good morning, boss lady. Good to see you. One of my things is this, okay? You know, it's like people are like, well, why don't you ever want to go to family events? I'm like, or go to friends events. I'm like, I never talk to these people. I never talk to these people, and all of a sudden you want me to waste my day to go out there and support your shit. For what? You know, that's and honestly, that's my thing. And people are like, "Well, that's kind of a shitty thing to do." And it's like, well, I mean, I'm gonna go because my wife wants me to go and she wants me to be there. But other than that, I don't. You know, for me, it's not it's kind of a, why am I doing this? Because usually this is what happens. This is what happens. Is I'll go to these things, and I kind of sit there like a bump on a log. Just because of the fact that everybody, I mean, the one person I might know there is too busy to talk to me anyway, so I just kind of sit there. Fuck you all the way in Billings, Montana. That's what I got to say. They have a family friendly tag, by the way. One of the reasons I was late on here this morning, outside of having to do the business, was I was looking up these tags because you can put these tags on streaming. So you know, you try to look at them, and some of the ones like you want to put family on there because we're a family in here, but then it's like, oh no, it's got to be family friendly, highly moderated, and all this other shit. It's like, yeah, that's not gonna work around here. I'll definitely say that was mislabeled. Oh, Lolly's butthurt. She said, then don't come. But I already know where that'll land me. Kind of like that old Brad Paisley song, I'm gonna miss her. PG-13. Yeah, I don't know if they got that one. There's a lot of tags to go through. You literally have to scroll through them and find them. You can kind of guess, but then it's like you try to type in the same thing that you're thinking, but then you go down there and they have like a special way that they do it, so you literally have to go through them all. Oh yeah, I'd definitely be in the doghouse. She's probably mad that I even said something on the stream, but it's like, well, it's the truth. I don't hide anything from you people, and there's a lot of people that feel the same way. Good morning, Luz. Good to see you. And I don't know. What do you guys think about that? How do you guys feel about that? It's like, okay, out in the shop for 2 months. I mean, how do you guys feel about that? All of a sudden it's like you go to family or friends, events, and it's like you sit there and you feel really uncomfortable because you feel really out of place because you don't really know anybody, and the couple of people you might know are too busy talking to all the other people they know. So it's like, yeah, I'll just sit over here and get shit faced. Gotta go lead the stream on. I'm sorry, not around much. More doctor's visits lately. Oh, we understand that, Denver. We appreciate you popping in, saying hi. So, right, they invite you but don't talk to you. It's like, why am I here? Exactly. And it's not so much they invite me; they invite my wife because these people all know my wife. But it's like, she'll introduce me, but then it's like, I'm a 300-pound convicted felon, and it was no secret that I was a convicted felon, and they still try to look at me like I got some kind of fucking cooties or something. None come to my event, so I don't go to theirs unless there is an open bar. My family's gotten so big that I have cousins that I don't really know other than a family get together here and there. I keep my mouth shut if we are even invited. Well, I understand you've known her for 30 years. I find it hilarious when you get invited to things when they expect money or gifts, and then you're nothing again. Absolutely. I mean, these people aren't like that. I know these people, but I don't ever talk to them. I met him when I first met my wife and going to church with him and stuff like that. But I've never, you know, like literally, I hang out with their kids more than I hang out with them. Like when they come out to visit, I'm literally hanging out with the kids, taking the kids fishing and doing shit like that. So my wife is pissed right now. You can tell. No, and it's just a general. I mean, seriously, think about it. Okay, yes, they supported you and I. I mean, we can have this debate right here. This will be interesting. So yes, they did support you and I when we first got together. But let me ask you this: in the last, we got married in 2013. How often have I talked to them since? How often have they gone out of their way to call me or talk to me? uh, Maybe that's what I'll do. I'll just bring a bottle down there and get shit faced. I'll keep a bottle and a cooler hidden in the damn truck, and I'll just go down there and get shit faced. Get just fucking snookered. My family annoys me within 3 hours, so they drive me nuts. I don't know why that is. I don't get it. Like, I can hang out with my friends and stuff, and maybe it's because you can choose your friends, but you can't choose your family. And I get the same feeling. It's like you get around some of your family members, and it's like, why am I here? How am I related to you people? No, I don't call them. I don't have any need to talk to them. We don't have anything in common. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I have some extremely liberal relatives that don't like me much until it's birthday or graduation. I bring my letters, MP3 player, and a book and find a corner away from everything. At that point in time, it's kind of like we should all just have a party then. Oh yeah, we matter of fact, we just did a get together last weekend. People come out to Candy Dandy Days, and then we had a bonfire out in my front yard. So, uh, yeah, definitely. And anytime I'm going to a public event, I let everybody know I'm going to be there. My family knows me. I won't say anything, but don't pick up my favorite aunts, and I'll stand up and go face to face with them. uh, uh, Man, a fire sounds nice, but now I'm freezing this morning. I got the fire pit loaded up in the front yard, ready to go. I finished cleaning up last Sunday. We're going to be at the Twins game this weekend. Not sure how long I can stay. Maybe lurk on the way. Nice. Well, I'm hoping to get out, maybe do some streaming tomorrow. Get up first thing in the morning, go do that, and then go down to this graduation, and then hopefully be fishing the majority of the day Sunday. So water levels are still high, but they're dropping a lot of the no wake zones. So the water level must be receding to some extent, but I've also seen that the cabbage is starting to come in, which is going to make it a little tougher fishing, because when the cabbage starts coming in, you got to start running top water, and they haven't really been hitting top water yet. So yeah, it's not supposed to rain until tomorrow afternoon, unless it's changed. We can check the old shit talker here. I call everything on the internet shit talkers, so let's see here. What do we got? Yeah, it's not looking like, well, that's moved up a little bit. Yeah, it's impending closer and closer, because now it's looking like 8 a.m. we're supposed to be at 30%, 9 a.m. 50%, 10 a.m. Because it wasn't really supposed to start kicking off until about 11 a.m. But it seems to be moving in closer and closer. Maybe I have to go buy me one of them little shitty ass ponchos. You know, the ones you buy at the gas station for $3. But Sunday is supposed to be decent all the way through. Could be a little windy on Sunday. But right about prime fishing, it's supposed to be all dropped off, so the only bad part is it's supposed to rain all day. Insane. Story of my life. So, yeah. That's what I get to look forward to. Kick some Kansas City butt, huh? Alright, boss lady, thanks for stopping in this morning. Stream live from the graduation. Lolly would love that. Oh, no, she wouldn't. She's already mad at me now. It'll be all here all day. It's, if you don't really want to come, you don't have to, but that's not the case. She says it, but doesn't mean it. Uh, I'm lacking ambitions today for the YMCA. Oh, I'm lacking ambition. About Thursday, I start dragging ass pretty hard, and then Friday is just miserable because traffic absolutely sucks on this in the summertime on Friday. It is just horrible. You got people pulling campers that are too big for their trucks. You got people who think that it's Sunday and they can just cruise. They have no consideration the fact that people actually have to make a living on these fucking roads. I love driving on Fridays. For 2 years, I avoided driving on Fridays. I literally had other people driving on Fridays. But unfortunately, my bills and such as they are now, I have to drive on Fridays. We who, with a whole lot of fuck you. So, oh, I do have some news on the old F-150 though. They finally got into it yesterday. Pretty sure that I thought for sure that it shelled out the rear end. But turns out yours truly was smart enough to bring it up there to Iron's garage right away, and I literally kicked out a bearing and an idler arm. So, I don't know what it's going to cost. It depends on if you're going to buy a whole kit or if you just can just buy the one bearing. Yeah, so we'll see what happens. Yeah, I get to go to the cities for this graduation too, so about 4 hours worth of driving. Uh, I'm tired of being pulled out in front of all summer long by Phipps. I'm going to make them shit themselves when them horns go off. And that's my biggest issue in driving is because it's like this. You know, like you get these assholes on the freeways who will run in the left lane and they'll be like, well, I'm doing the speed limit. Well, guess what? I wish they would pass that slowpoke law because you would be the asshole who gets hit because you're the asshole who causes traffic jams. One of the main things I will tell you honestly, outside of slow people who cause it, if you ever been where you're doing like 80 miles an hour and you got that jackass behind you that's got to do 90, 95, well, in every freeway situation, it doesn't matter where you're going, especially in the state of Minnesota, every freeway situation leads to a bottleneck somewhere where it cuts from 3 lanes down to two, that kind of stuff. You're bottlenecking with a major road. Here's what happens when that happens. When you're racing 80 miles an hour up the freeway and you race right into that bottleneck, you instantaneously cause an issue for. See, when they design the freeways, they design them so you have the zipper process. And it's called a zipper process, okay? Just like a zipper, everybody comes together. Whoop, whoop, whoop. But when you got the assholes who are trying to fight their way in and get in, and you're trying to pile 3 cars in front of another car, did not pass as of August 1st. Did it not pass? I don't know about the slowpoke law. I guess I haven't checked. I know the cell phone law passed. The cell phone law passed. But we'll see how well that's enforced. It'll probably be enforced the first month it's out, and then after that, because there's supposed to be a no texting and driving law, and we see how well that's enforced. August 1st, that's going to be phenomenal. That is, you're going to see a lot of people with the slowpoke law getting hit. Here's my deal. If you want to take the joyride cruise, that's fine. There's back roads that get you around everywhere. You can jump on a back road, take an alternative route. You do not have to be on a main money road. Uh, I remember I made a Facebook Live video about it a year or so ago, and people are like, "Oh my God, you have anger issues and road rage, and da 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 da, and you're the reason people get hurt." No, because if I wanted people to get hurt, I'd just shove them off the road. But I don't do that. I say the problem is when you have people on a 70-mile-an-hour freeway who decide to do 60. It just is what it is. Um, what are we talking about here? It's a Mitsubishi. They got a Mitsubishi dealer in St. Cloud. Why would you go all the way out to Sioux Falls? So I thought that a Mitsubishi dealer. Uh, yeah, Don Robertson Mitsubishi. Mm. Sioux Falls is closer. Uh, Vapor, good morning. Good to see you. Yeah, if Sioux Falls, I mean, outside of getting it uh, trailered, if you don't have access to a truck or trailer, the only other way I would recommend it is a tow truck. So, if you got like roadside assistance, uh, if you got roadside assistance on your insurance, I would just call and say you need a tow to a dealership, and they'll tow it to the nearest Mitsubishi dealership. So, uh, I don't know if you guys will be able to see this, but this guy up by Baxter, Minnesota, may have just got one of the largest goldfish ever. Oh, it's a big mouth buffalo. It's a big mouth buffalo. You guys can see that, but it looks just like a goldfish. I don't know. You guys have to look it up. I don't. It's very hard to get it to focus. Guy up by Baxter, Minnesota. Uh, so, um, yeah, big mouth buffalo. And they said this one was at least 100 years old. Um, People would say, "Oh my God, he shouldn't have shot it," but here's the deal. Truthfully, the it's basically a member of the carp family or sucker family. They're actually giving out harvest permits for these things because it is absolutely ridiculous in how much these things have overtaken the lakes. So, uh, tech support's rolling out. Hmm. Imagine that.
Do you suck dicks? Do you suck dicks?
Staff training in the salon. That's a good excuse. We know what he's doing.
Do you suck dicks?
Mm-hmm.
Do you suck dicks?
Kind of just makes you want to fuck something up on purpose. Clint, good to see you in here this morning. So anyways, the $193 too. Nice. Oh, they can invade. I figured out how to ban people. Uh, Pam, good morning. Good to see you. Um, yeah. So this this fish was over 100 years old. Uh, and apparently, when they get it, they start turning that color the older they get. But the issue with a lot of the rough fish is they're just overtaking lakes like bullheads, carp. You know, those are two of the big ones that are overtaking. They're freezing out a lot of lakes because of these things. Uh, Big Candy Lake, which is out by me, is a lake that guy just made the news last week because of what he's doing to harvest them. Uh, because they're just insane. The amount of I mean, you're talking a guy who takes like 100,000 pounds out of one lake. But because the lakes are all connected by chain here, a lot of them are, anyways. The majority of them are, whether it's underground or whatever. I mean, literally have underground tunnels. It's all goldfish killing the regular fish, and that's the thing. They will literally they can these carp can literally wipe out a fishing lake very quickly. Carp fishing has become very, very popular. Um, you know, my son does it. He doesn't even hardly fish anymore except in the wintertime. Summertime, all he does is bow hunt carp. That's his thing. So, uh, here in Minnesota, they don't even let you fish with goldfish because they don't want you dumping them back into the lakes. I know a lot of places, snakeheads are another one. Yeah. Uh, didn't the DNR come up with a Cape can or carp cannon? That's a good question. We can look that up right quick. Well, it seems that Mythbusters has done something. U of M. Yeah, it was on 5 Eyewitness News. Let's see if we can get it up here.
We can tell you that they are testing a new way spread of invasive carp. A couple summers ago, we were there for a demonstration of
Quit being a dick.
Researchers at the migration of fish presents a unique opportunity for researchers at the University of Minnesota.
We can tell you that they are testing a new way to stop the spread of invasive carp. A couple summers ago, we were there for a demonstration of what they call a carp cannon. Well, only on 5 tonight, Kevin Dorn shows us how it's being put to use in the real world.
This could be used in a lot of different places.
The Minnesota Aquatic Invasive Species Research Center is on Rice Creek experimenting with a whoosh system. U of M scientists call it a carp cannon, but it's actually designed to help salmon migrate over dams for spawning. They are the first in the world to use it to stop the spread of invasive fish, in this case, the common carp.
Well, the problem with them is that they're too common. They cause terrible water quality problems. What they do is they dig in the bottom looking for food. They create algae blooms, they make algae blooms worse.
It's estimated there are about 12,000 carp in Long Lake, and every spring at about the same time, they all migrate up Rice Creek toward Lino Lakes to spawn. That's why they've got the trap set up here to force them into the carp cannon. The carp are guided to their demise using electricity.
But it's basically an electric fish barrier, but it's low voltage, so it doesn't stun the fish.
For now, the carp, loads of them, swim into a net, are dumped in a boat, and sucked away. They're still fine-tuning it, but eventually the fish will swim right into the carp cannon.
So the whoosh is both vacuum and pressure. So the vacuum is used first to essentially suck the fish in, and then they hit a door, and then pressure is used to push them forward through a long, flexible tube, so you can transport those fish over thousands of feet.
How's it working?
It's working great.
The goal is to reduce the number of carp to where they don't cause problems.
But you know, if we're starting at 12,000, if we can cut them down by 90%, then we're going to be pretty happy.
Goodbye, carp.
Goodbye, carp.
And that would be good news for all of Minnesota's lakes. On Rice Creek, Kevin Dorn, 5 Eyewitness News.
Very interesting, huh? So far, they've removed about 4,500 carp from Rice Creek. That's about 36,000 pounds of invasive fish. Now, many of them have been donated to the Wildlife Center for the wolves to eat. And if you have any other ideas on how to use this carp, the Watershed District would love to hear from you.
So the intern there it is. I heard them Asian carp have made it all the way up there. They actually brought Asian carp here. They brought them here to try and stun, because we used to have a very, very large population of bullheads. Well, now they've learned to coexist, so now you have both. I guess the biggest issue they're having is how do you keep, because if you look at any carp trap, other fish are there, so their big concern is how do we keep the other fish out of it. I think eventually what'll happen is they're gonna find like a holding area where they'll develop these holding areas or something for them. I don't know exactly. I know some farmers have been gracious enough to take them, allow you to throw them off in the road ditches or whatever at their place. There was one farmer out here for a long time that was taken until the coyote population got really, really bad, and he couldn't get anybody to come out and hunt coyotes, because that was kind of the problem he was having. So Yeah, they are great. They're absolutely great fertilizer. The problem is you really can't throw them in the garden whilst the garden's growing because they will actually over fertilize it. Like from what I understand, now, I don't know this to be true, but I could definitely see it that the that they will actually burn out a garden if you get them in there during that time. I've also heard of people mixing them in with compost piles. The guys that compost piles, but you're talking uh, getting them out there. That's the biggest thing is the DNR is fighting with right now is because people are bow hunting these things and just throwing them up on shore, which is illegal here in the state now. When I was growing up, that's what you did with them. You kind of just threw them up on shore and let nature have its way because you'd have raccoons or whatever else come and eat them, birds. And it never used to be a big issue, but now it's gotten so bad and you've got so many people bow hunting them that, I mean, literally the shorelines are just lined with them. They're great fertilizer. I was never allowed to do it whilst the garden was in the ground. So, but yeah, I was always encouraged to bring them back. And then, like in my grandpa's place, we used to just throw them in the washout. There's a washout between the two fields, so I just throw them up there in the washout. So, they are good smoked. I've had them smoked, but you can only eat so much smoked carp before it's just like it tastes like shit. I had an aunt for years. She had a creek that ran out behind her house that ran between two lakes, and it was literally, they would send us down there with a spear, and they built a bridge over the creek, and us kids would just stand down there and spear carp every time she wanted smoked carp. We'd spear them, she'd cut them up, throw them in the smoker. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I guess I kind of got out of bow hunting carp. I got a lot of buddies that do it. I just got out of it because I really just don't have a place to dump them. I just like bullheads. People are like, "Oh, bullheads are nasty," but if you get bullheads when the water's still cold, like right after the ice comes off the lake, is the best time to get them. You can actually fry them up like regular fish. You skin them like catfish, and they're absolutely phenomenal. They're great tasting fish, but once the water starts warming up, they taste like shit. I had a friend of mine show me that because we used to go out right after the ice came off the lake, and we'd go out fishing, and we had the spot where we had massive crappies, but you would catch massive bullheads with them. And he's like, "Oh, don't throw them back." And I'm like, "Are you fucking nuts? It's bullheads." Yeah, I'm the guy who throws the bullheads up on the road and lets the cars flatten them out. But he brought a bunch of them home, cleaned them up, and he fried them up for us one day. And I was like, "Well, that's pretty damn good." And it legitimately was. But he said the thing is, they got to be cold. It's got to be cold water bullheads. He said once the water starts warming up, they taste like shit. So after that, we used to go out right after the ice would come off the lake, and we'd start hammering these crappies and these bullheads, and it was damn good. It was really good, but again, cold water was the key. Oh, yuck. Have you ever eaten one? Everybody says yuck, and they've never actually eaten them. They've never eaten a cold water bullhead. Oh, I tried a bullhead once. Well, what time of year? Oh, it was in August. That don't count. Guys, I think my wife is thoroughly pissed off at me. Pretty sure of it. Sorry, I'm eating spaghetti. Belong. I have no idea even how to pronounce that. Probably because I told you guys the same thing I tell her, how I feel about going to graduations and family events and stuff like that. I think one of the biggest deterring factors for me is the drive, because I drive for a living. So anytime I have to drive long distances on my day off, I really don't want to. Used to eat bullhead every spring when my dad was into fishing. The smell makes me sick. Grew up eating both. Yeah, smoked carp I ate. Smoked carp I never mind. Bullheads were something that was recent to me as of a few years ago. Yeah, definitely something a little different. Perch are definitely one of my favorites. I actually like taking perch eggs. Used to catch a lot of perch. There used to be a limit of 100 perch. And I had a deal worked out with an old guy. If I caught him, he'd fillet him, and then we'd both spend the day frying them up for everybody. And he got me on 2 perch eggs way back when I was a youngin'. So, yeah, I've always been, even now, I will cut the eggs out of a perch and fry them up. So, chunks them up like chicken nuggets. Oh, we're up on a coffee break already. Oh, you guys doing the business? Oh, stretch out. Gotta go make some coffee. Go make me another cup of coffee. So, we will be back here shortly.
Some call me a sinner for the things I've done. Born with a heart of stone, fast with a gun. I'm here to get mine, then I'll leave this town. If you're standing in my way, I'll cut you down. You can't tame me. if you're standing in my way, I'll cut you down. You can't tame.
Oh, good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Invasion Nation Morning Show, brought to you by yours truly, Redneck Invasion. Also sponsored by Mill Pond Salon and Romaine Berg. Greatly appreciate those guys. A little bit of air horn. Good morning. Boss Lady, I see you made it back in here. Good to see you. Muskie Fisher, good morning. Ruger, good morning. Good to see you. Ruger, how'd the fishing go last night? Or did you even make it out there? Yeah. And also, did you guys hear about the 4-year-old little boy who took great grandpa's car for a ride? Was it great grandpa? Yeah. Yeah, little boy and Blaine, 4-year-old, woke up in the middle of the night with this unhankering craving for peanut butter and chocolate. Decided to borrow great grandpa's car to drive to the gas station and go get himself some one rock bass. Yeah, decided to borrow great grandpa's car and head on out to head on over to the gas station. So you guys get a chance, go check that story out. I think Fox 9 reported it. But yeah. I know I'm not supposed to laugh. It's supposed to be all serious, but it's not like it's not something that hasn't happened before. It wasn't like the kid was out just stealing grandpa's car. He was just going to the gas station to go get candy, because it's probably what great grandpa does with them when they decide to go get candy. Jerry, good morning. Good to see you. Yeah. Oh. Let's see here. I don't think I missed anybody coming in. But, in other news, I don't know. I guess I didn't really do a whole lot of research. It's fucking Friday. You guys are supposed to help me out with content here. You're not helping me out with a whole lot. So, what's everybody else got going on this weekend? I'm gonna go. I'm gonna bring the camper that I bought over the winter to go get the axle converted over to a single axle fish house. That'll happen next weekend. Or drop axle fish house. I'm also going to check into one of my old trucks. I'm going to find out what's going on with that and if they're going to do anything with that, because I kind of think I'd like to redo that truck. We have a wedding to go to. I have a graduation to go to. Doing it kicking and screaming, complaining a lot, but I'll go. It'll make my wife happy. So, they did get my truck figured out. Lucky for me, I'm not one of them people that drives shit until it just quits running. When I noticed it had gotten really, really bad, I brought it in. My pinion gear, my pinion was good. The spider gear was good. What are you doing back here? Aren't you supposed to be doing some training or something? Are you training them how to shave your beard off? Is that what you're doing?
Oh, yeah!
Just remember.
I've fallen and I can't get up.
Yeah. When the beard hits the floor, when the beard hits the floor. Well, I'm going to bring the little forward. Well, actually, I have to go down to the cities to go to this one. Good morning, Ruger Wife. Well, whole posse sleeping in this one. Well, that's good. You guys deserve it. You guys work all the time. Met a ton of Redneck Invasion fans at the casino last night. That actually happened down there when I went down there for the Jackal concert. A lot of people were like, "Hey, I follow you on Facebook." Oh, I was damn near late for the concert. I think Redneck should get the honor of shaving Tech's beard off. Actually, I can't because we're doing it in a salon. When you're in the salon, yeah, I would love to do that, but you actually can't do that for licensing and insurance issues. So, I can see you. Matt's idea made my screen worse. Huh? Yeah. I don't think he's going to get up in time. The fuck he thinks he is? A liberal? Tell him to get his ass out of bed. Do something with his life. It's Christ. It's 8 o'clock in the morning already. How about a small cut? No, I honestly, for as far as I know it used to be that way back in the day. Because even when they did the teachers in Wilmer shaved their head, I volunteered to help out with that, and because of licensing insurance issues with the barbershop that was doing it, I wasn't allowed to help out. Actually, don't do too bad with a set of clippers, believe it or not. You see the videos I sent of the kids racing around? Yes, I did. They are some very, very happy kids. It's good for them, though. Get a cat who bites your toes off and you don't wake up. Let's see here. Oh, yeah, my wife's definitely pissed at me. I sent her a message at the coffee break and she ain't even responded. That's alright. She probably not even got the show on today. She's like, well, fuck you. I'll just be one less viewer for your show, asshole. Liberal comment got it moving. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Uh, better bring her something. I don't have to make up for it. Morning, Ruger's son. By the way, everybody, can we get some emoji love for Ruger's son? Hit a 24-24 yesterday. Well done. Well done. Did quite well in the competition up there this past week. Can you imagine that? 9,000 guns in one area and not a single accident, not a single incident. Can we get some? That's for you there, Ruger's son. We're proud of you. Very proud of you. Well done. Yeah, man. Very, very well done up there. Way to represent the Second Amendment. We greatly appreciate you. When you get woke up, there a little bit, maybe you can type in and explain to people exactly what it is that how they do the scoring system, so where they can understand exactly how the scoring system's done. 24-24 is actually is really good because I think it's 25 total if I remember correctly. So 24-25 is pretty fucking good. They even won $193. Well, so they can pay you back for the tickets. No. Yep, today a flowers and chocolates kind of day for hell no. Flowers and chocolate. What, for being honest? I don't understand that. Why would I have to bring flowers and chocolate for being honest? Why, please somebody explain that to me. I mean, if I'm telling the truth on my morning show, then why would I need to do that? It's 4 rounds of 25. And what was your, because I know you hit your last 2 rounds were 24 out of 25, right? So what did you do for all 4 rounds? And finished, damn. Yeah, look at that. 95 out of 100 possible. 95 out of 100 possible. I told them Father's Day was coming. I don't need to pay for my own supper this year. Swanee, what's happening? Dandelions at a Hershey bar. 95 out of 100 possible. These are high school kids, people. High school kids. I want you to remember that. These are high school kids. You know, the ones that they say are most volatile with guns. I'm in a 19-way tie for 26. Yeah. Good night. Where's your team standing as of right now? Where are you guys placing? Where's your team standing at? But the volatile ones 16th. And what is it? The top 30 go to state. And then the top team out of that goes to nationals. top 40. So you're 16th and then top 40. Dang. Some really tight competition up there. And then you guys are already done. Your team's already done. And then you still got the entire weekend of shooters coming through. All right, gotta go, Taters. Good luck tomorrow, Redneck. Oh, well. Thanks, Justin. I greatly appreciate it. Wife says she's not mad at me. Why? We're down to the one word answers. Well, this time I got 2 words. So nobody's explained to me why it is that I had to buy chocolates and flowers. And that was the thing that I talked about. I've talked about here on the show. We used to get taught gun safety training in school. You know, like literally, used to be taught gun safety training in school. So it's like, okay. Good morning, North Dakota Board. Good to see you. Yeah. We already have a team going to nationals. So this is just for state. Yeah, I guess I don't understand exactly how it works. But you're on dog duty. That's all right. They can stay in the kennel all weekend. I'll watch the dogs. Now you need to bring my booster over here so I can get that hooked up tonight. That's what you need to do. If mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. Boy, ain't that the truth. I paid it forward. I brought her chocolate and lunch yesterday. Be nice to her. She has to put up with you. How does that always work? How is it always the guy in the relationship is the bad one? How does that happen? I'll probably be home right around 8 o'clock tonight, between 8 and 9, somewhere in there. I'm going to try and haul ass and just get everything done today. He's making fun of you losing all of the hair. That booster, isn't that booster yours now since you have to do all the suffering? Here's the thing. Angry Grizzly is now hosting my stream. Thank you very much, brother. I greatly appreciate it, as always. This booster does benefit him because he gets tired of watching my stream cut in and out when I'm on the lake or when I'm out on the road. It just pisses him off. He legitimately gets pissed off about this. Trucker, good to see you in here. Welcome back. Yeah, he doesn't know how to be nice. No, listen. Let me help you out. Like I tell everybody, okay? Like I tell everybody, I was born an asshole and just grew bigger. My mom says, I didn't raise you to be that way. And I'm like, really? Coming from the lady who had Beyond Bitch written across the front of her truck for my entire high school life. Yeah. Kind of ends that conversation. Yeah, we used to do gun safety training in school. I mean, it was like, I remember bringing my dad's 22 rifle in because my first gun was a 410 single shot, but I remember bringing my dad's 22 rifle in, the same one he shot when he was a kid, bringing that to school, and then you did gun safety training right there in school. It was taught as part of Phi-Ed, physical education. We learned archery and we learned gun safety training. I mean, I guess I don't get it. 28 tons of lead over 9 days. Holy shit. Somebody wants to make some money, go up to them grounds afterwards, see if you can't find all that lead. Dad's 22 lever action. Yep. And that was the thing. What did you not hear of back then? What did you not hear of? It wasn't until these liberal schools started taking this shit out of their schools, and all these little schools across the country decided they had to follow suit. You know, let's not make it a mandatory course. Everybody took gun safety training. Everybody took gun safety training. And guess what you never heard of in our generation? Never heard of a gun-free zone, that was for sure. Hell, even the teachers had hunting guns in there. Some of the teachers, you know, the reward was you go deer hunt with them. Or you go out small game hunting with them, or do whatever. Yeah, I don't know. That stuff just... Oh, never heard of a school shooting. I don't know. Do you think a shooter would want to walk into a school where there's a gun in every fucking locker? I remember because they were worried about, like, if it got too hot, they were, you know, because technology wasn't what it was back then. So if it got too hot, you know, if it was too hot outside or whatever, you could actually we used to be able to bring our ammunition to school, and they put your name on it, you know, tape your name around on a piece of paper, and then they would stick it in a box, and then when you went back in after school, you could go get it. You weren't allowed to transport. You could transport your gun, but you couldn't transport ammunition on the bus. So what would happen is your parents would have to pay a small amount of money to get 22 ammunition for gun safety training. I think it was like, I don't know, $2 or $3 or something like that. Almost 23,000 kids in trap. Imagine that. But yet we want to initiate more gun control in the state of Minnesota because of other states. You ask Amy Klobuchar, who's running for president, ask her why we want to do more gun control. Well, because of gun violence in other states. Minnesota is one of the most gun liberal states out there. Yeah, we got our goods with our bads, but still. Yeah, I think, what was it, back in 97 or 98, Minneapolis had the highest murder rate per capita. But what they didn't tell you about that is we also had a mass influx of people coming in from Chicago. Minnesota became the melting pot for all the street gangs for quite a while. You had numerous gangs here and a ton of gang violence. And what did they do? They passed a crackdown law, put them all in fucking prison. And guess what we didn't have anymore? We lost that title as fast as we got it. But the one city that has some of the highest murder rate per capita is Chicago. And guess what? They have a gun ban. Imagine that. Yeah, I don't. The politics behind it all is if you ask the mass majority of Americans, they believe in the Constitution as there's written, no gun control, period. But unfortunately, because they are overplaying the fact that the United States, and I forgot, what do they call that? Basically, the way the Constitution is written and the way our government's set up is so that way we can't have mob rules here in this country. But I'm drawing a blank on what it's called right now. Because everybody's like, oh, it's a democracy. Well, no, we're not a democracy. The democracy rule is to keep large mobs from ruling this country. Um, that's why we have electoral colleges. That's why we have things that the way we have them. So that way larger cities can't outvote constitutional republic. Thank you, Justin. Um, and it prevents mob ruling here in this country. But that also gives a voice to the smaller people, and they tend to control some of the stuff that they shouldn't be controlling, such as gun rights. If you read the Constitution as it is written, guys like me aren't supposed to have my gun rights stripped from me. Matter of fact, back in the day, up until, God, what was it, 90s, 80s, 90s, something like that, when people carried guns with them, they received it back when they got out of prison. I mean, you wouldn't get your bullets back necessarily because they were considered volatile. You may not get those back, but you definitely get your gun back. And people are like, well, that's not true. Well, really? Let me help you out. In 1997, I caught my first felony. I had to turn over my guns to a family member who signed that they would not allow me to have access to them until I was off of parole. When I received my letter back stating that I was off of parole and my rights were restored to me as a natural-born citizen. Okay. Right now, I currently have my gun rights in Minnesota. According to Minnesota state law, I have my gun rights. But the federal government oversteps and says felon in possession of a firearm, and the way they invoke it is interstate commerce. And and they go around over a lot of hurdles. They make sure they go over a lot of hurdles in order to make this happen. So, but why should hunter and gun owner pay the price for bad politicians, bad choice, not crack down on criminals? Here's the thing. Okay, you want to do something? You want to solve more crimes? You want to solve more crimes when it comes to criminals and street gangs? Allow them to buy guns. Even put the restriction on there saying, because I would do this, even because I'm a convicted felon. Okay, I understand. I made some piss poor choices. My guns have to be registered. I'm telling you right now, there's a shit ton of them that would. You would throw a massive slant in illegal gun sales in this country. You would throw a massive slant at it. Because people are going to go out and buy them. Why wouldn't you? Hell, if I don't have to buy them illegally and I can go buy them legally and it's mine and I own it. But at the same point in time, I'll tell you this. They gain a lot more respect for it. They'll gain a shit ton more respect for it. But it also gives you the first line of, all right, who do we look at? I would expect them. I would expect them, if a crime was committed with the same type of gun I own, that they would come to my house first. I would actually welcome it. Come check them out. They're right here. But I've built myself a good enough reputation in this town where they know I would. And again, my criminal past, none of it has ever been perpetrated with a gun. So, one thing that a lot of people don't talk about is shutdown of mental health institutions. Where do they think all these people went? They went out into public, started creating havoc, and started having kids who are also mentally deranged. What do you think has happened over the past 2 or 3 generations now? Absolutely. Rigger Wife, 362 schools in Minnesota participate in trap. 7th largest sport. One of our kids is shooting for the college he's attending and the school is giving him an expensive gun, customized to his hand to shoot for them. The safety on it is his fingerprint. Right. I mean, it's not hard, but they won't tell you this. They won't tell you this at all. They won't come in at now. See, the NRA asked me, and people ask me why I support the NRA, even though they pocket a lot of the money. But here's the thing: the NRA actually came and sat down and asked me, as if you were as a criminal, would you buy and register your guns? Absolutely, I would. And it's not because of where I sit now. It's because I said I bought guns legally. It wasn't until I caught a federal felony that I wasn't allowed to buy guns. The FBI would say they would deny me at first, and then I would send in the paperwork saying that all my rights were restored to me, and they would allow me to own a gun. And people are like, well, that's not possible. You were a felon. Listen, I own 250 guns at the time of my federal felony. 250. And tell me again how I was irresponsible. Not only was I an avid collector, I believed in the Second Amendment, the right to defend myself. I was also a gun instructor. But again, we overlook all these facts because of fear mongering. We overlook all these facts and stuff. There's lots of ways to do this, just like I had said last week about arming up teachers. $250, holy shitballs. Well, it's the thing when you're a collector and you get into collecting things, it just was what it was. It just is. It was what it was. When it comes down to it, it shouldn't matter the amount. I mean, when the Second Amendment was written, we had the same amount and same type of firearms the military had. And that was never supposed to change. The military wasn't supposed to have any special access to shit. We're supposed to be able to defend ourselves against the government. That's why the Constitution says, we the people. The first three words of the Constitution written in big, huge letters. We the people. You're talking about our founding fathers who just gotten off a 2-year battle to gain our independence, knew that there was a chance that this could happen again. That any government given power would try to overrule the citizens. They fought against that. They fought against what we are going through right now. We talk about the freedoms that we have, but we're supposed to have a hell of a lot more. We're not supposed to be paying property taxes. The government is not supposed to have the right to just come in and take our money. They're not supposed to. The Constitution was adamantly against that. And people fight with me all the time. They're like, well, how do you expect infrastructure? You know what? You know how they did it back then? They donated. When people first came to this country, you know how they took care of each other? If you were coming over here as an immigrant, you were adopted by a family that was already here. You were basically adopted, and you're talking families would help each other. You would come in, you would help this family grow, and things like that. And when you were married off, or if you came over here with the whole family, once the family had double what they had before, they would split off and you would take your half. And you would move on and you would do the same thing for another family. And they continue to do that. But we don't do that anymore. We talk about all the, we look at the founding principles, and people are like, oh, you got to understand it's the changing times. And that's the kind of thinking that has put us in the position now, where you've got government officials that have no term limitations. They're making 6 figures a year to sit on Capitol Hill, where politicians go up to Capitol Hill to become millionaires. That's not right. And people look at me and they say, well, this, your way of thinking is just too old school. But you know what? In my old school way of thinking, there's no legal definition of mass shootings, by the way. There's no, there, in my way of thinking, you don't have mass shootings. People have guns. There's people in towns that have guns. And you just don't walk into them crimes. You're more respectful. Any percent of taxes mere move to increase deficits and spending. That's why they do it. Percent taxes, sale taxes, property taxes should be used for services to the community. But it is spent without prudence or forethought. Absolutely. Just like you want to talk about the group that was down on the border making citizens arrests on illegal immigrants. And were given a cease and desist order. When they didn't, they were arrested. 30, what's happening? Good morning, brother. Good to see you. When you talk about the things, if I pay for my chunk of dirt, if I spend 10, 15, 20 years paying for my chunk of dirt, what gives the federal government the right to tax me on it? What gives them the right? Oh, it was voted in. Taxes started happening because of the fact that our government wrote out checks that their ass couldn't cash. That's why we started getting taxes. Just like being told I got to wear a seatbelt. Why? Why do I have to wear a seatbelt? How does me wearing a seatbelt affect the safety or security of anybody else around me? It doesn't. It affects the insurance companies because they believe I would sustain more injuries. Here's the thing. They will push and push and push and push. Just like when they pull you over because your turn signal's not working and you use a hand signal. Got pulled over on my motorcycle for that once. My motorcycle didn't have turn signals. Didn't want them. They looked ugly. So I used hand signals. Officer says, you didn't have your turn signal on. My bike doesn't have turn signals. That's why I used hand signals. Well, you have to have... No, I do not. And I had fought with him, and finally he had to call a higher up, and the higher up's like, yeah, he doesn't have to. Same with the vehicle. Brake lights, turn signals, all that stuff. You have to have marker lights, as far as marker lights going, but when they say, well, your turn signal isn't working, and you use a hand signal... Matt says, my house is paid for in full. It still costs me $300 a month in property taxes and insurance to own it. Pisses me off, but the government will take it if I don't. And that's exactly what it is. What right do they have to take a piece of dirt that I paid for? Nobody has yet to give me a reasonable answer. 30, so what's shaking, man? How you doing over there? How's the ranch doing over there? The old Ponderosa. Let's see here. The only reason taxes are higher is because they passed a non-homestead tax. But what right do they... I mean, this is, again, Again, it's what right? If this is my chunk of dirt, I have the deed for it. What is your right to tax what I own? Mind you, the Constitution was written and geared towards people owning property. Just so you all know that. It was also written towards if a government came onto your land to try and confiscate your land, you had every right to defend yourself. Every government should have a trial period if they don't fulfill their duty in the first 1 to 2 years. They should be fired on the spot. It's the same for regular work. If you don't do your job, you get fired. And that's the thing. They say, well, these are elected officials. Well, you don't really give us a whole lot of choice because if we don't have millions of dollars to campaign, it's pretty hard for us to the common man to get up there and do anything. I'm doing great. Swimming pool is genius. Free beer and food. To barbecue, kids living it. Absolutely, that is nice. Bubba, good morning. Good to see you this morning, sir. How's Pumbaa doing? How's the other goat doing? You got a lot of people kind of worried here. I haven't had a chance to really get on your stream and hang out, man. I've been working my ass off. So, I know that was a tough deal. That was kind of a tough deal to have to go through, but yeah, they're just going to waste more money. They keep increasing spending, yet it's mainly their pay, their buildings, etc., not actually beneficial to the citizens. I wrote them a letter, cut waste and spending, laughing. Yes. Yeah, good luck. That's the problem. They sit up there on Capitol Hill and they think they're untouchable, and the Constitution was written so they could never feel that way. Going to run. It's windy as hell out there, and have a good and great weekend. Absolutely. Oh, better idiot there. Consider closing the school in town. Residents are upset about what it will do to our town and property values, but younger people in town don't understand how school benefits the town. It's in. Well, and I mean, here's the thing. Based on the educational points of your school, it can actually increase your property value. If you have a good school in your neighborhood, it can actually increase your property value. But the downside of it is then your taxes go up. So ugh. I don't know. I guess it's you put it to a majority vote in the community, and they say that, and then all of a sudden they wonder why they owe more on the house than it's actually worth. Then maybe they'll get it through their fucking heads. You made a dumb decision. Kebabs. A good school generate more families moving to that area and get the kids best choices in life. Simple fact. And here's the thing. Everybody's like, oh, look, it'll save you on tax money if you don't have a school. But the problem they don't understand is wait until they see it. Wait until they see the drastic drop in their property values. And here's the thing. This up until, and I want to point something out here. Before you had a federal board of education, before you had a federal government regulating what was taught in schools. Okay, schools were locally funded. That's why you've seen a lot of local schools. My hometown. I mean, we were 300 something people. My parents grew up there, had its own high school, had its own elementary school. Well, then they combined the high schools and still kept the elementary school. You know, and that's exactly it too. I keep thinking of what happened to Lake Lillian, and you're right. A lot of businesses went out shortly after. Do I think Bird Island will suffer that big of an influx? I don't think so. Just because of the fact the main drag they're on, but I could definitely see it hurting. I could definitely see a lot of people moving, because if you got to start going, forever and a day over to another school, I know a lot of families just move. I don't think I should have to pay taxes to the school when I have no children using the facilities, yet my neighbor has 8 kids and their taxes are cheaper. What's up with that? Pay taxes on the amount of kids using it in your family. Lake Lillian is on Highway 7. Right. I It's off of Highway 7, whereas opposed to Bird Island's got 212 running right through it. But at the same point in time, it's not really... I don't know. Lake Lillian shot itself in the foot on a lot of things, but I definitely have seen that happen. Even, a lot of other towns, when they pull schools out of them, you've seen or even when they started pulling programs out of schools. You don't even have to close the whole school. You just start taking the programming out of the vocational programs out of them, and watch how many people leave that area. How many businesses have problem recruiting employees, so they go to some other place. Especially businesses who are used to getting these kids for the summertime on tech programs. My town was big on it. If you went to tech college, or if you went to tech school or tech programs, like say you did construction or auto mechanics or whatever, or welding, you usually got a summertime job doing that. I mean, I know Bird Island's got a few issues right now. People are pissed off over there about how long the road construction project is taking. From, if I understand correctly, it's actually behind schedule. Largely, they, of course, the, Bolton and Mink, but they're saying, oh, it's the weather. But I don't know. We'll see what happens over there. I don't know that closing the school to save on taxes. I think what you're going to see is what will happen is property values are going to decrease and people are going to get pissed off about it. Matt, I am in the same mindset you are. I don't mind taxes supporting the school. I don't have kids in school either, but those kids are our future. It takes a tribe to raise a child, and that's exactly what it is. It's difficult when towns consolidate schools. I can see some of the good points, but there are also so many negative impacts on the community. Well, like our community that I grew up in. They closed the high school because there just wasn't enough kids in the high school. Okay, I can understand that our small town could not financially support 2 schools. So we consolidated with a bigger school, but it was not just us, it was 2 other small towns that also consolidated with that. But we kept the elementary schools in each town. The elementary schools in each town were there. Trans Am, good morning, good to see you. But the high schools were consolidated, which actually worked out good, for athletics and things like that. But it's a huge transition when you consolidate schools. It's tough. The other thing is again what I said about federal regulation in schools. It never used to be that way. You've got a federal government trying to make decisions for your little town and its school because they want everybody to be on the same point. This No Child Left Behind program has been one of the biggest fuck ups in school history. It seriously has been. It's great. You want to keep all the children at the same age on the same level, but you're also restricting the children who can accelerate. You're also restricting the children from having. I mean, I remember when I was in school, we had kids jumping up grades all the time. We had kids jumping grades all the time because they were really freaking smart. And people are like, well, why are they doing? Well, because they test out. I mean, you could test out. By my junior year, I was testing out of a lot of stuff in high school. I was testing out of a lot of stuff. Now it's hours based and doing whatever else, but you could test out of a lot of stuff. So by my senior year, I think I had one class I had to finish up in order to graduate. One. Yeah, one. One I needed a credit in. You take now, like Minnesota. Minnesota's been fighting on this for a while now because we have a very high immigration, per capita. We have a lot of immigrants per capita who come here, and these students, a lot of these students who can barely speak English are coming over here, and they have to hold back the entire class for the sake of one or two. Now, I understand you want to integrate them in, you want them to feel like Americans. I'm all for that. But to hold back an entire student body for that, I don't agree with. The thing that gets me is all the talk about closing the Bird Island school and sending the kids to a new school in Olivia. Why not build in Bird Island and close Olivia? That would never happen, I assure you. And I think it's honestly, Matt, I think it comes down to a numbers game. Who's putting more children in school? No Child Left Behind. What that really means is the smart ones down, so they're not quite as smart and don't feel so bad. It's a participation trophy given out in the classroom. It's stupid. And that's the thing. They have found out statistically that it's actually stifling education. Kids who have the potential to be much smarter students are not accelerating. They're not accelerating. They're not moving in the direction in which their potential allows them. Also, the other thing is they have found that they've also found that a lot of schools, they've also found that a lot of schools, when they do this, the students that are the most disruptive are the least challenged. Well, that's not true. They're just troublemakers. No, they're not. They're actually very smart kids, I found out, testing them wise. They're very, very smart, intellectual kids. But where you've got them at in school, they're just not challenged. They're not challenged at all. And this is why more and more families are making it, are trying to make ways to send their kids to privatized schools. But then, like, we were going to put my son was very, very smart. And we were going to put him in a private school. But then you get into some of these private schools and they're like, oh my God, the computer is the devil. It's like, you can't get around this. Mechanic shops are going to having tablets on people's individual workstations so they can register parts and jobs and labor times and things like that. You can't avoid technology. Technology is going to be a part of major businesses. You take truck drivers now. Truck drivers are my favorite example. You look at all the stuff that has been integrated into trucks. You got e-logs and you got tablets and you got all sorts of shit that are being put into these trucks. you know, as opposed to where it used to be, you jam gears and holler over the CB radio, and you stop at a truck stop or at a driver dock, and you'd make a collect phone call back to dispatch. Where am I going next? You know, it ain't like that no more. It's just not like that. You know, and the other thing is you know, you look at it, and even in my line of work, look at me now. 20 years ago, even running small transport, I'd never thought about being able to talk at my radio and talk to people and you know, be listening to people broadcasting from Portland or whatever else. Yeah, I was actually talking to Matt about this yesterday, about when satellite TVs were first integrated into semi-trucks. Having to get out and take this fucking dish and stick it up on the backside of the truck, and then you had to turn it, and then you had to get down and make sure it was adjusted right on your TV. And I mean, sometimes you could spend damn near a half hour, 45 minutes, even an hour adjusting this son of a bitch, you know, just for it to start pissing rain, and it wouldn't work. Well, now it's just this little globe that you hook up to the mirror. Uh-oh. I'm in trouble now. Call her on the coffee break. Call her on the coffee break. Yeah, big shout out to all the dads out there, stepdads, guys stepping up into the places of sperm donors. Yeah, we got forgot to give them a shout out today. So we're gonna come back after the coffee break here, and we're gonna change the situation. We're gonna start talking about dads, stepdads, and people who are most influential in our lives. We're going to spend the last hour of fucking Friday doing that. They deserve that. They deserve at least that. So we'll be back here shortly.
Some call me a sinner for the things I've done. Born with a heart of stone, fast with a gun. I'm here to get mine, then I'll leave this town. If you're standing in my way, I'll cut you down. You can't tame me. if you're standing in my way, I'll cut you down. You can't tame me.
Welcome back to the Invasion Nation Morning Show, brought to you by yours truly, Redneck. Powered by Twitch. They don't endorse anything that I say or do, but I do definitely give them credit for giving me a platform to be me. Also brought to you by Mill Pond Salon in the scenic downtown New London, as well as Romaine Berg. So, yeah. So let's talk about dads. Let's talk about dads, shall we? There's a lot of things. We've got a lot of stepdads that follow this program. We've got a lot of biological dads that follow this program. We got a lot of Snow Wild. Good morning, been a while. How you been? We got a lot of dads, period. And we got single dads who are playing both sides of the fence, having to be dad and mom. And I don't think they get enough credit. We talked about earlier, we had the Father's Eve showing stuff on here. And how dads are more likely to commit suicide, how dads are definitely more likely, they carry stress a lot harder than and a lot tougher than moms doing a lot of things. There's a lot of things, and dads have probably been some of the most underrated characters in a lot of people's lives. They get a little credit about once a year, but I know dads who are criticized because they work their asses off to keep, men are naturally wired to be providers. And this is what people don't understand is men are naturally wired to be providers, when it comes to a lot of stuff. And, when we see our family lacking, or we see that we got bills that we can't pay, our first initiative is work more, work harder, get another job. That's what a lot of us, a lot of guys think. We try to figure out a way to make it. And, I look at my dad, and my dad walked into a situation where he fell in love with a woman, my mom, and she had 3 kids, and one of them was a problem child, which would be me. And this problem child was subject to rage and violence and would say some nasty ass shit, but he stuck it out. He said, you know what? He'll grow out of it. It is what it is. When I was getting in trouble, it's like, he never denied me of being his son. He wouldn't talk to me. He was disappointed because he knew I could do a lot better things. But when he see me in public, he didn't go out of his way to ignore me or anything like that. He just said, don't come around the house doing that shit you're doing. I don't want that around the house. Don't come around the house. And I respected that. And now, now that I've got my shit together and I'm, being an actual contributing member of society instead of a hellraiser, my dad and I have a really good relationship. So my biological sperm donor, appreciate you, fucker. I'm here. Whatever. And I think when it comes down to it, Jerry says, I know my husband took it differently than I did when we were struggling financially and had young kids. He took it as personal failure while I handled the bills and juggling finances and muddled through. And that's the issue that my wife and I have right now. Even though we don't have kids in the house anymore, we're having a tough go of it. we're having a real tough go of it because I'm paying $1,500 a month in child support, and I'm an independent contractor, so I'm basically an owner operator, like a truck driver is. Uh, they make more money than I do, but they also have more expenses than I do. But at the same point in time, when you're an owner operator, it's expensive. It's not cheap. When you look at your fuel bill, for me, you figure what you spend on average gas month, what a lot of people spend for gas, I spend right around $2,000 a month, if not more. $2,000 a month on that alone. So you figure child support and gas alone, that's $3,500 a month that I make just to work. That's not counting oil changes. That's not counting whatever this rear end job's going to cost me. Granted it's just a bearing, but it's still you're talking labor and stuff like that and parts and and it could have been upwards of around a $2,000 job. And that's what it is. I mean, you're talking, I'm going through a set of tires every week and things like that. And I take it as when my wife says we don't have enough money to pay the bills, my first instinct is to go get another job. Mind you, I'm already working over 70 hours a week as it is. But my first instinct is to go get another job. And she struggles with that, and it was even worse when my son was living in the house, because at that time not only was I paying that, I had a huge mortgage payment I was paying. I had doing this, working 2 or 3 jobs and trying to do that stuff. And when guys process this stuff, when dads process this stuff, we feel like a failure. When I see my wife having to struggle with paying bills, I honestly feel like a failure. I feel like I have failed her. Because I promised to take care of her in sickness and in health. And I honestly feel like I have failed her 100%. I can't say how many videos kids who want their stepdad want them to adopt them just because not blood does not mean you're not suitable to be a great parent. So many people are way better than parents in many cases. Absolutely. Hats off to dads that stepped up. Yeah. Vapor. I'm way better off due to my stepdad, who by all means was my dad in all the ways that mattered. He didn't adopt me, and I took it personally at first, but I understood why. Shouldn't that matter? He loved me. He provided for me. And my dad has somebody to carry on his family name. He doesn't have any blood relatives that his family name dies with him. And that's unfortunate. So I spent $839 in fuel this trip so far, under half a tank left. And Matt's an owner operator. I mean, I average about 70 right now, between $70 and $75 a day in fuel. So, and it depends. Like if I get detoured, well, it costs me more. But you ask somebody like Matt. Matt was a guy who stepped in the place of raising 2 youngins that weren't biologically his, but he never treated them any different. I mean, hell, he just sent both his kids and his wife to 2 separate concerts. Sent his wife and his son to Garth Brooks and who the hell was I forgot who it was yesterday. But sent his wife and his daughter to a concert yesterday. And what's he doing? He's out on the road. It's called a dad complex. Scott McCreery. Never heard of her.
Oh, yeah!
Oh, yeah, I don't listen to much radio, so I don't hear a whole lot of new country. I've kind of gotten enough in my I've kind of gotten into sticking, and now I know how my parents felt when I was growing up, when I was listening to all the new shit like Alice in Chains and Primus and all those guys. My parents were like, yeah, who the hell's that? You've never heard of Alice in Chains? God, you're so old. You know? My dad was pretty cool, though. My dad would listen to the stuff with me. Like, we would go out. Like, my dad, when him and my son were riding around, my son actually got him into listening to, like, Ryan Upchurch and Big Smo and those guys. So my dad actually gets into listening to that. I don't have biological children. I legally adopted my daughter when she was 2, have raised my son as my own since he was 7, and wouldn't change it a bit. They are both mine and would die for either one. Absolutely. 100%. And that's what makes you a dad and not a sperm donor. You know, I caught some criticism because when my brother was killed back in January, I caught some serious criticism because I refused to give my sperm donor a hug. He was out giving hugs, and my other 2 brothers were kind of pissed off about it. They're like, well, if Tim was here, he would have done it. I said, listen, let's get something straight. I'm 40 years old. I'm a grown-ass man. That guy has been more of a father to you than he's ever been to me. For most of my life, I've been a disappointment to him. He wouldn't even claim me as his own son. And now all of a sudden, because I'm doing good in life, or what he considers doing good in life, all of a sudden he wants to be my dad. Piss off. My dad's back in Minnesota. I said the only good thing that came out of him was you 2 because you're my brothers. Other than that, he can piss off. And my brothers, you know, and I told him before we got out there, I said, I don't want anything to do with this dude. You know, I'm not being disrespectful or anything like that. I mean, but he was very abusive. He beat your mom up. He beat my mom up. And he beat his other ex-wife up. I really just don't have time for him. I got no time for that shit. MM, good morning. Good to see you. And here's the thing. Okay. I want to, you know, I want to point something out. You know, after the fact, my brothers came to me and they said, you know what? You told us. Because I was down there, the day I found out, I literally jumped in my truck and drove straight to Arkansas. Drove straight down there. And you know, drove straight down there, and I told him from the time I got down there that I know he's going to show up, but I don't want anything to do with him. And when crunch time came, they found out how real it was for me. You know, but I was calling my dad every day, letting him know how I was doing, because my dad wanted me to check in with him and make sure I was all right and things like that. I'll admit that it bothers me at times that my son calls me Matt and his sperm donor dad, but I do understand it. Matt, I do that to my dad once in a while. I don't do it intentionally. It's just, BS, you stopped in Missouri for coffee. Yeah, got to see an ugly old binder and some hairy-ass dude driving it, too. In a solar-powered truck. That was actually the first time I had met Matt Ram in person, by the way. Is in the midst of all that, and him and I have... the nice thing is when you meet other drivers and you get to talk to them. Like, I talked to Matt. I mean, we're on the phone for hours. Literally on the phone for hours when he's on the road and I'm on the road. And same with Clinton. I'm on the phone with him quite a bit. Clinton's hours have changed and his loads have changed quite a bit, so I don't get to talk to him as often. But, you know, I still make that mistake. Because for years I refused to call my dad too. And actually, Matt, it wasn't until I got out of prison that I really just started calling him dad all the time. And that's truth. You know, because I always thought it was disrespectful to my first stepdad who was involved in raising me from a young child, but then I realized the fact that, you know, this guy, no matter what, had always been there. He'd never taken advantage of me, and was always there to help. So, mm, just reading some of the comments here. Yeah. So, you know, I want to just a huge shout out. You know, can we get some emoji love for the dads, not the sperm donors? I want emoji love for the dads. I want you all to blow this fucking chat room all the way through the roof. I want you guys to blow this up, man. This is definitely about the dads. Yeah, yeah. I don't even give my sperm donor the respect of calling him by his first name because I'm a junior under him. So I have to carry around his shit ass name everywhere. That's good enough. So yeah, can we get some emoji love for the dads? I mean, I don't care what you put up there. Put it all up there. It's for the dads. Every dad out there, you know, your dad, their dad. Um, you know, and then you've got kids who are blessed with biological parents. You know, like I've met the Rugers and I've met Justin and those guys, and I mean they're 100% dads. You know, they're right up there. Chad, all those guys. I mean they're about their kids. You know, it's great. Are you kidding me? You guys got to move that shit talker a lot faster than that. You guys got to move that shit talker a lot faster than that. All right, Tanya, we'll catch you on the flip side. Um, Hip hop, good morning. Throw some emojis out there, hip hop. We are giving love for the fathers out there. Uh, and I'm going to throw one pink helmet in for Matt. uh, my son had his dad had his welcome to reality moment when he was flying home from serving in Afghanistan, called his dad to tell him he was almost home, and his dad asked to borrow money. Good night. Mm. I had met my biological dad until I was 17, and at that point, my mom told me he didn't deserve to meet me. I always felt hurt because it was like I don't deserve to meet him. It was a few later, I met my biological dad, and the truth of it all hit me because it still took a few years for me to call my stepdad dad. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, the legendary hip hop is in the chat room, showing some love for the fathers. If you guys get a chance, follow hip hop. I've only got to catch him on stream, I think, once or twice. So this is the problem when you work all the time. You don't get to see anybody anymore. You don't get to see your friends, not even your internet friends. Gus is like, I'm still lurking. So, yeah, and the thing is it's like this. My dad shot me out of shooter recurve. Everybody thinks it's really cool. But my dad taught me how to shoot that. All right, Snow Wild. Thank you for the prime sub. I greatly appreciate it. I don't know why that did not come up. Why did it not come up on my screen? Fucking tech. Takes out. There it is. There it is. Finally. Thank you, Snow Wild. Appreciate that Twitch Prime sub. I'm usually on when most are at work. And see, this is the hard part, okay? this is the hard part for me because, you know, now that I have this goal of being a full-time streamer, it's like when I used to have the day off of, you know, doing nothing, I used to go and check out everybody else's streams. Now it's like I got the day off. I'm going to go, you know, Lene, good morning. Good to see you. Now I'm like, oh, it's my turn to go out and stream. So it's like, well, if it's raining, then I just sit in the house, and because I don't really have a whole lot I can do here. So just a little slow this morning. Well, I appreciate that Twitch Prime sub. So, yeah. And guys, don't forget, if you're worried about security on your computer systems and stuff like that, scroll down to the bottom of the Twitch page. Get the security system that we use because it works great. As you can see, my shit has not been hacked and won't ever be hacked. Why? Because it's a great system. Also, if you're doing your shopping from Amazon, do it from the bottom of the Twitch page. MM, thank you very much. I greatly appreciate those biddies.
Making them dirt road dollars way out yonder.
That's actually my first bidding donation of the day. I don't keep track of it. We just put it all back into the stream anyways. So, but we did raise the money to go to TwitchCon. So that happened. We got the money for the signal booster, which I think the tech is going to bring over tonight. I'm going to get that hooked up in the old boat and make sure I got that wired in correctly. And then I'll be able to move that from the boat to the truck, so that way you guys will be able to ride along with me. I'm going to figure out how to do the TTS, so that way it reads your guys' comments to me. I have to say, I feel bad for all you people out there, because my dad is the best. Damn, Matt. All right. Okay.
Making them dirt road dollars way out
Coming in with them 1,000 biddies. I think my dad's the best. I don't know what you're talking about. But hey, I met your dad. Your dad is definitely good shit. I don't know how such a nice guy could produce something like you, but hey, we'll go with it. I'm just kidding. Guy gives me 1,000 bits and I just talked to him like an asshole. My son's dad is the best. My dad used to tell me, I don't call you son because you're I don't call you son because you shine. I call you son because you're mine. You're stuck with me, you little fucker. No matter how much I'd say, you're not my dad. And that's what he'd say to me. I'm like, well, fuck you too then. He was right. I've been stuck with him. 30 years, I think. Over 30 years now. So, ITP coming in with 1,000 biddies. Thank you very much.
Making them dirt road dollars way out yonder, having them holler.
I must have been a drunken night. Results in the back of a Plymouth. All I can say is to those who have your dads, stepdads in your lives, appreciate them while they're still there. Reed Jerry, mine has been gone 15 years. River's gone 13. That is probably going to be a really bad day for me. You know, I've always accepted death as a part of life, but you know, now I've had two very close people to me pass away, and I did not realize how much of an impact it has on you when they're that close. Sorry, I'm running back and forward, making 4 pounds of Swedish snus for $39. I wonder what Swedish snus tastes like. I wonder what that tastes like. Yeah, and to those of you, I mean, to those of you whose fathers are passed away, you know, I can't say that I understand what you're going through. You'll find out I'm one of them people that say, you know, that will tell you flat out, I don't know what that's like, and and you're probably the people I'm going to lean on the hardest when it does happen. I'm not going anywhere. I've been doing this for 5 years. Matt Ram coming in with 1,000 biddies. Thank you very much, sir.
Making
My
them
button
dirt
work.
road dollars way out yonder,
Damn.
having them holler.
Ugh. Fill the cup. Fill the cup. Oh. Well, the nice thing is when they get filled with them heavier ones, then the little ones, they just kind of run off the top, and then it takes a big one to skirdouche it. Now, when you do the really big skirdoushes, that's when they're really cool. I got to see it one time on Australia's fishing deal. They filled it up with like the big bitty deals like that, and when they did, actually the tech was the one who did the big skirduche on it, and he beat me to it, and yeah. You know, and I guess, you know, I guess I wouldn't know how to prepare for that. So a lot of y'all that have been through it, you probably see a lot of us leaning on y'all, and you know, I don't think you ever really recover from somebody that's that close. You just learn to move on, but you honor their memory every day, and that kind of stuff. So, yeah. But in light of Father's Day, what are you guys doing for those of you who are doing something for Father's Day? What are you guys doing? I'm going fishing. I'm going fishing. That is, you know, I'd like to take my dad out, but I don't think I can get him out. I should actually see if he wants to come out and do some fishing. Every time I say that, though, he's like, oh, I'm going to go over here and I'm going to do this. And all right, Sarah, thank you for the subscription. Greatly appreciate it. Trans Am's like, I have to work. Sunny Beach. Let's see here. And the thing is with my dad is he's lost his mom. It was him, his mom, his dad, and his brother. And he's the only one left. He's the last one left in his family. His mom remarried, and her now widow has basically stolen my dad's inheritance. I will say that. They probably don't want their business out there, but they don't listen to my morning show anyways, so. My neighbor just shot another squirrel. All right, Gus, thank you for the 300 biddies.
We're making them dirt road dollars way out yonder, having them holler.
Sarah coming in, 25 biddies. Thank you very much.
We're making them dirt road dollars way out yonder, having them holler.
Filling that cup. I love that cup. I just sit there and I zone out on it when it starts filling up. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. You know, when it, like my dad's deal, you know, I thought about, you know, having him adopt me and go through that whole process, and maybe having my son change his name also to carry on his family name. And we've talked about it, and you know, I don't know. It's still something I want to do. I just don't know the process. I haven't had enough time to research the process. I know I legally can't change my name, but he can adopt me, and I don't know after he adopts me if I can change my name. I just don't have the money. I know it's an attorney process, and I haven't had the opportunity to see what it takes. You can buy a snooze for your living. Yeah, but I don't have anybody that really carries any exotic stuff around me. What I mean by exotic is stuff that's from out of the United States, really. If you have them order it for you, then they want to charge you an arm and a leg, and it's bad enough I'm already paying $9 a tin as it is. Uh, Holiday Station Store is one. Speedway is another. Huh. Anyway, going back to the 50s this weekend. Uh, Never mind, it's next weekend. I have been invited. I don't know that I I do Street Machine Nationals. It's the one I go down to. Back to the 50s is really cool, but I don't know. I don't know. I just haven't been down there in years, and I don't know. It's just I don't know. I think Back to the 50s has gotten way too political for me when they when they start cutting out certain classes of cars, and that kind of stuff, just so they can make room for other stuff. The Back to the 50s in Minnesota, in case you guys didn't know, is the second largest car show in the world. Behind the Back to the 50s run, I believe that is in Las Vegas or California. I think it's California. The Back to the 50s run in California is the largest in the world. I'll be at Street Machine Nationals. My brother puts his Chevelle in that show. Muskie, I am always in front of the O'Reilly's booth. I'm a paid driver for another guy's car. I'll be right down in front of the O'Reilly's booth. So that's easy to find me at Street Machine Nationals. Matter of fact, the guy I got the Suburban from, it's his cars that I usually run down there. I'm going to try if the truck is done. I don't know when the Rusty Eyeball car show is. Maybe I can find that. July 13th. I'm going to try and have the 48 in that. I'm going to try and do that. That'll be at the Candioi County Fairgrounds in Wilmer. I'm going to try and hopefully have the 48 done in time to bring that there. I've actually been asked to bring it there because everybody thinks it's really cool. And so, yeah, absolutely. Show for rat rods. Yeah, it's a rat rod show. Very cool. It's getting a larger following. And it's the guys that put it on. You know, they're a really good group of guys. It's probably one of the longest standing car shows in the Wilmer area. And they've asked me, they've seen the pictures of the 48 and seen videos of it. And they're like, oh, you should bring it to the car show, man. It'd be really cool there because we don't have anything like that there. And I'm like, well, you're not going to make me like put the fenders on it. They're like, hell no. And so it provided it's ready to go by then, definitely going to try and do that. So, I don't know about the one at Jackpot. There might be. I kind of got out of doing car shows, a lot of car shows. I was in a car club, a couple of different car clubs. The Redneck Tech and I were both in, and that's actually how we met, was in a car club. And I kind of got out of doing the real showy cars for car clubs, just because of the fact that I thought it just became a big waste of money to have this car sitting around that you only drive once in a while. And I like doing the stuff that you can use on a regular basis. But the 48 was just kind of one of them decisions you make last minute. You got a bunch of your buddies sitting drunk in the garage, and it's like, this is going to make a really badass mud truck. The original intention was to make it a on and off-road street style truck, and I was like, nah, fuck that. I've always wanted an open tire mud truck, so when we rebuilt the motor, we pulled the front fenders off, and I really liked the look of it, so that's what we went with. And that's what it'll be the rest of its life, bullet holes and all. And I've even taken my dad for a ride in it. My dad had never been mudding. Last year we brought him out to a mud run, and my truck sits up so tall, my dad has to get up on a cooler to get in it. So, uh, so I took my dad around, drove it out really nice. My dad, has back issues and stuff like that, so we drove it around really nice. I didn't take him through any of the real bad shit. Didn't want to get him all dirty either because my mother would shoot me, send him home in the car covered in mud. My dad had a 1970 Dodge Super Bee 383 Ram rear, glass packs. Yeah, 6 speed. I've never been a big Mopar guy. I like the looks of them, but I was more into the like the Demon, the little bit longer nose, look kind of like the Nova. But I just never really got into the whole Mopar craze. Bought a few, sold a few, but never really got into wanting to build one. In my era, in my time of growing up, it was the G bodies were the affordable hot rods for everybody. So everybody had G bodies. Uh, well, in Hollywood, they pay thousands of dollars for mud baths. They should go mudding and get it for free. Absolutely. Hell, give me $100. I'll take you for a ride. You have the best mud bath ever. Uh, my dad was never. My dad was more the outdoorsman, the sportsman. So he was always into the guns and hunting and fishing and um, cars were something that I just innately got into because of my first stepdad, and I always liked cars. And yeah, you're talking about Chew, and I look over, and the old guy parked next to me is pulling out Red Man out of his beard and putting it back in his mouth. Oh hell no. uh, oh yeah, I had to quit chewing Red Man. It started giving me heartburn all the time. I don't know if they changed something up that they did to it, but it started giving me heartburn. Uh, any fishing stream this weekend? Yes, I'm hoping to get out tomorrow morning before I go to this graduation. Try and get out for a couple hours. Go do a fishing stream, and then probably all day Sunday is what I'm hoping to do. Uh, are you streaming tomorrow at all 30? Are you doing anything on Saturday? I may have to bring my earbuds because I got a feeling it's going to be an awfully lonely situation. So I may need some entertainment. At least I can interact with somebody. Nice. Ruger was, I talked to Ruger on the phone last night. He was telling me about a story about somebody at a propane grill start on fire. And I was trying to explain to him how propane tanks don't explode. You're better off, they even tell you you're better off just letting them go. It'll just shoot a flame. Well, film the installation of the signal booster so I can edit it with some fire and sparks. Just kidding. Actually, all it is wiring it is, and I just got to put in a separate 12-volt outlet in the boat. So it's not really all that complicated because it has a 12-volt plug-in, which makes it nice. I just have to when I get it on the truck, I'm going to have to figure out where to mount it on the truck because, yeah. I have a topper on my truck, so if I had a headache rack, it'd be really easy, but I have to run a topper because the load size that I get is, the Suburban was nice, is nice, but I don't want to tear the interior up on the, no, I have solid plastic mirrors. There's no place to mount it. I don't have the tow mirrors for pulling a ghost trailer, so there's no way to put a mirror mount on the F-150. I will have to go to tow mirrors. I learned with the camper that I can't see around the camper with the mirrors that I have on there. I just don't want to be one of them idiots running around on the road with my fucking tow mirrors hanging out with my ghost trailer behind me, looking like fucking the Great Cornholio. So, my favorite was this when I first started doing Snapchat and I was running tow trucks. I'd be at gas stations here and there. I literally caught a guy running around with his Dodge half ton with these big dumbass moose mirrors hanging out there. Had these big, huge moose mirrors hanging out there and runs into the side of a pump with these mirrors hanging out. Busts the mirror. I died laughing. And then, here's the best part. Here's the best part about that when that happens. When does Travel Buddy come to the U.S. and meet up with you? I kind of won't know. I don't think I'll know about that really until last minute because I know he's going to see some other friends. And then when he does make it up this way, it's definitely going to be, I'm hoping we have good weather. The hell do you need to see behind you for? You ain't going that way. as the tires blow out of my camper and I'm dragging it down the road, we're shooting sparks. Fuck it. Get to the campground, bottom of the camper's gone. Well, look, we got natural flooring. Oh, yeah, that's definitely something my dad would say. You don't need to see back there anyways, fuck it. My dad gets a kick out of it when I got big trailers and shit behind me and slide stuff in there. He thinks it's pretty neat that I can do that stuff. I learned how to operate large equipment, things like that. So whenever I have the opportunity, I bring my dad. If I'm going to be on a site doing something really cool, I try to bring my dad. My dad was a carpenter. He also worked in a meat plant, but my dad has been a carpenter for over 40 years or 50 years, 40 years. And I've taken that for granted because I'm not a carpenter. So whenever I need to do carpenter stuff, I call my dad. Like, hey, either you can come over and help me do it or I'm going to fuck it up. How you like them apples? And he just looks at me and says, yeah, no. You got a sponsor. Nice job. You finally landed that, huh? Very nice. I'll have to go check out their fishing gear. Help give you some support over there. Means I can't shop from my own Amazon and make Amazon give me money. I'll go over to yours. So, why is it only the women will scrub the bathroom? That's not true. I scrub the bathroom. Not as often as my wife would like, but I do it. A lot of times when she's out of town, that's what I do is I clean up things like the bathroom and I shampoo the carpet and I do stuff like that. My missus does snow cleaning. My wife does the majority of the cleaning around the house. I will say that. She does, and a lot of times she does all of it because of my work schedule. So, yeah. But I also explained to my wife, too, before the show ends, I'd like to wish you all a very happy Father's Day, ladies. Flash a trucker, they're probably dads, and you'll make their day. Denver, what's happening? Yeah, it's with my work schedule being the way it is. I haven't had a lot of time. Normally, like I told my wife, uh, when we first met, I don't clean the house. I suck at it. I literally suck at it. And you could say, oh, you can learn to get. I don't want to get better at it. I just literally suck at it. I mean, in my bachelor days, I hired somebody to clean my house. Even if I was shit broke, but I wasn't. You know, I paid somebody to clean my house, or I'd have roommates move in that kept my house clean, and then I would just keep paying the bills. You know, that's how they paid their rent, is they cleaned my house. Because I literally suck at it. I tried when I was a kid. My mom would tell you, I suck at cleaning the house. So it is what it is. You know, there's some things you're just not good at. You know, and my wife doesn't like the idea of a cleaning lady coming to the house and going through her shit. That's what she thinks. So, but she also said if we win the lottery, then she's definitely gonna have somebody come in to at least come clean the bathroom. But my wife's one of the people who washes the dishes before we wash the dishes. So, uh, it's not a fancy dinner that makes women happy. It's daily small things that makes them happy. You clean the bathroom or do the dishes and help out in general. So, oh, well, we are at the end of the show for fucking Friday. I want to thank you all. Thank you all for the biddy donations. I greatly appreciate it. A huge shout out to all the dads out there, stepdads, stepping up, being real dads, and the dads and stepdads who can co-parent together. I greatly appreciate y'all, man. This is a shout out to the dads and to the moms who have to be dads. You know, thank you very much for doing that. You know, uh, so I greatly appreciate y'all. Again, happy Father's Day to everybody that's out there. Don't forget to call the dad in your life if you're able to. To those of you who've lost your parents already, or lost your father already, you know, I'm sorry that days like today make it, or days like Father's Day make it very happy, or make it very hard for you. Um, you know, but at the same point in time, if you get the opportunity to honor somebody else's dad or help somebody else out, I mean, please do that. So happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. Um, and to all y'all in the Invasion Nation, again, thank you all so much for your support. You guys are absolutely phenomenal. I greatly appreciate you.
Oh, yeah!
Hamster Media is now following. Thank you very much. Greatly appreciate the follow. Um, and until then, y'all keep them cold, keep the bottoms up. Enjoy your weekend. I'm gonna try and get out and do some streaming tomorrow. Get the maybe I'll do some streaming of hooking up the 12-volt stuff and getting the boat cleaned up. It's kind of in disarray because I just kind of grab stuff out of there. Don't forget to check out 30 Says. He'll most likely be on later today. Check out 30 Says. If you can't find him, you know that we auto host him. So if he's streaming, you can always come to my channel, find him, and move on over to his channel. So, how about you stream getting that barbecue set up? I'm working on it. Finances are kind of eluding me right now, but we're definitely going to be building a cooking shed, and I'm actually going to build. I'm going to have a couple of my buddies who do fabricating. I'm actually going to fabricate a custom grill and smoker right inside the cooking shed. And then have tables and benches as well as a propane cooktop in there. Just a 2-burner cooktop, so that way I can do more cooking outside and the wife doesn't have to worry about it. She likes it when I cook outside because then she doesn't have to clean up all the mess inside. So, yeah. As we do that, maybe we'll change that around for the cooking shed since nobody wants to see me get waxed. Thank God. Oh, I really appreciate that. Because that would fucking hurt. So yeah, maybe we'll start doing that, and then I can actually do some more content at night and things like that. And here's the thing, this is what I love about 30. 30 knows what my goal is. Still comes in here. We still pop in each other's streams and stuff like that. You know, and he's one of the people that's inspired me to want to be a full-time streamer. You know, because it's like, you know, it would just be a nice venture. So, as always, 30 Fox, they always get a shout out. Fox is our OG. 30 is one of those guys. And if they pop in here, we give them a shout out. You know, the guys that we follow on a regular basis. Guys like Killer Steve in Ohio. Don't forget to check out Ohio, the catfishing extraordinaire. Love him to death. So with that being said, I'm going to get off of here. I'm going to get to hauling ass and try and get done early enough so I can get this stuff hooked up in the boat and get the boat ready to go for tomorrow morning right away, because I'm going to have to get up pretty early, get out, get it done, and then get back in time to go to the graduation. So love y'all. I greatly appreciate y'all. Till then, we'll see you Monday. Maybe this weekend, but definitely see you on Monday. Always 7 to 10 Central Standard Time. Ugh, I think I got it all out there. Again, big shout out to Mill Pond Salon, Romaine Berg. Thank you guys for everything that you do. Iams Garage, getting my truck in, getting it taken care of. And congratulations to Ruger's son in how well he did in trap. So greatly appreciate him going out there representing our Second Amendment very well and representing that our kids are extremely responsible and given the opportunity. And also to all the dads out there, thank you for encouraging and being a dad to your kids, no matter which way they came into your life, whether by natural birth or whether by through marriage or whatever. But thank you for stepping up and stepping out and being the man in their life that they need. So, anyways, y'all have a great day.